Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to iGyaan. After the launch of the Pixel 10 and Pixel 10 Pro and XL, Google is now launching the Pixel Fold in India, and this phone is interesting to say the least. And let's quickly take a look at the unboxing and my first impressions of this flagship foldable directly from Google. By the way, this video is available in multiple languages, so you can choose your favorite language from the bottom right. Now, the Pixel Fold comes a few weeks after the launch of the Pixel 10 flagship phones. The Fold is in a category of its own and hence gets a later release date. Now, this device is really interesting and is a big departure from the previous generation of Pixel Folds. And this one, to say the least, is a massive improvement. Now, price-wise, it is massive as well. It's 1,72,000 and it's the only variant that is available. And you can buy it directly in India from the Google store. You have tons of offers right now, including cashback, including 1 year free of Google One with the 2 terabytes of storage. You also get free access to Google's AI Pro for a full year. So if you pick up a Pixel device, including the 10 and the 10 Pro, you're getting lots of offers right now, including some 10 to 11,000 rupees cashback. So we'll have a link to that in the description below. So definitely go check it out. The unboxing experience is fairly quick and simple. The phone is right there on the top with a charging cable and some basic specifications, along with some basic information about safety and such. The device itself is really slim, 5.2 millimeters when opened up. So that's really nice. About 10.8 millimeters when closed. Which is not that thicker than many phones used to be a few years back. So really nice and compact design. You also have a new gearless hinge with a multi-alloy steel and a new polished aluminum cover. This is rated for more opening and closing durability, along with an IP68 water and dust resistance to the entire device. You also have Corning Gorilla Glass Victus 2 on the front and a silky matte finish glass on the back. Overall, build quality wise, a really impressive frame and design for the phone. And then you also do have a really nice display on the front here as well. This is a 6.4-inch Actua display with a 2364 by 1080p resolution. It is a 20:9 aspect ratio display with 408 pixels per inch. It does have 60 Hertz to 120 Hertz, so it's not going to go down all the way to 1 Hertz. But the inner display does. So you have 60 Hertz to 120 Hertz, and then you also do have a peak brightness of 3000 nits, which is now becoming an industry norm, more or less. Just going around the phone, you'll find that the speaker, microphone, one of the speakers is at the bottom, a microphone and the USB port. On the right, you have your volume buttons along with your power button, which also doubles up as a fingerprint sensor. And on the top, you have more microphones, your additional speaker, and you also do have the SIM tray. By the way, this also does take an eSIM, so you can have a nano SIM in there, or you can have an eSIM, or you can have both. So you can have dual SIM that way. And on the back, you can see that this triple camera layout, along with some focusing sensors, an LED flash, just a microphone on the back here as well. So if we open this up, we are greeted with a much larger 8-inch Super Actua Flex display. Now this has a 2076 by 2152 sort of pixel resolution, and it gives you 373 pixels per inch. This is still glass, an ultra thin glass, and it has a 373 ppi pixel density. Really nice and easy to sort of open and close. It doesn't show any kind of resistance. You do see the sort of crease or the fold, but only if you look at it at a certain angle against the light. Otherwise, you will not notice it. Of course, when you run your finger over it, you do feel that bump. That's something interesting. And the display, again, 3000 nits of peak brightness, but it can go down all the way to 1 Hertz. This is a 1 to 120 Hertz display. Although I'm not sure if that makes sense, because when you have your phone closed, you would want to have an always-on display on the front where it could go down to 1 Hertz and sort of save you that energy. But this one only goes down to 60 Hertz. So if you do have an always-on option enabled on here, then you will be losing battery considerably, because it will not reduce the refresh rate of the front screen beyond 60 Hertz. Now, cameras are confusing for a lot of people. So on the front here is a 10 megapixel camera, and on the inside as well is a 10 megapixel camera. On the back here is a triple camera setup with a 48 megapixel or 48.5 megapixel main camera. And then you do have a 10.5 megapixel ultra wide and a 10.8 megapixel telephoto zoom, which gives you about 5x of optical zoom. Confusing bunch of cameras, but again, for a phone that's priced in this flagship tier, just the hardware in itself seems a little disappointing. Google does a lot of magic with their algorithms and their photo software, so we might see better results. But off the bat, just the hardware in itself seems a little bit of letdowny. First impressions with the camera, really good. They also have a really nice camera mode where if I switch to the front camera, and if I then switch to the front screen, which I think you can do this way, and you can turn on something called a rear camera selfie here. So then you can use the open display or the front display and then use the main camera as a selfie camera, which then gives you more options. Like you can go into ultra wide, you can also go into telephoto zoom if that's something that you want for whatever reason. You want to see your beard up close. You want to see what's in your eye up close, you want to check your makeup, do all of those things, then you can, and this feature works. And then you get this sort of screen on the back of the phone where if you unlock it, then it comes back to the regularly used programming. So pretty interesting. And in the OS, of course, you'll get 7 years of updates from Google. That's what their promise is with any Pixel device. They call it Pixel drops. So you'll continue to get those software updates, which is fantastic. Again, something that is more consistent on the side of iOS, but here on Pixel devices, at least you can get that. And then if you come into settings over here, you can go into something called Magic Queue. And Magic Queue is a lot of their AI features put to OS use. So you can use it to find info instantly. So if you're browsing through something, you want it to search for something on the screen, you can do that. You have the ability to sort of jump into another app and let Magic Queue finish up a task. You can also use it for holding on calls, making calls, those kind of things. So lots of things happening here. You can enable this, of course, one by one or everything together, and then it constantly updates. So you can see that here it's updating in the background. So you have all of those features. And again, something that we have tested already, and it works really well. Of course, you do have the ability to split screen here as well. So you're on the browser and you want to pull up your dialer, you can do that as you can with most foldable devices. And then you can also stretch it to weird sizes. So if I just want this much of the browser, I can do that. Or if I want just this much of the dialer, I can do that as well. And then I can tap between them. Or if I want it open on the screen, I have to take it to like a sensible sort of size. Or if I want it to sort of stay, it'll stay here and it'll give me this smaller dialer. But you can adjust it, you can bring it all the way to the side and then switch between them. Everything works really smooth, and that's because of the Tensor 5 chip. It's not at par with the Snapdragon flagship or the Apple flagship chip, but it does the job on Google devices well. And people who've used Pixel devices have had really no issues with Tensor, apart from them not really performing for things like gaming extensively and such. So along with that G5, you get 16 gigabyte of RAM. Storage, however, 256 at 1,72,000 rupees. Again, disappointing, of course. And then you do have a 5,015 milliamp hour battery, and this phone also, just like the regular Pixels, also does support the MagSafe wireless charging that Google calls Pixel Snap. And you can attach a MagSafe charger, or if you do have the Pixel charger, you can attach that onto this. It also works with all the accessories. So if you have, say for example, a wallet, you can attach that on the back of this and it sort of attaches. The magnets are really good as well. So that works out without any issues. So that's it. That's a quick look at the new Pixel Fold. What are your thoughts, especially considering pricing? And would you like us to test this in depth and give you a review? We did take the camera for a little bit of a spin. So here are some camera samples. Of course, you do have Google's intensive AI suite to make corrections and fix the images on the camera as well. All of those things do come in handy, but I feel that build quality wise and just material feel and fit finish wise, this is one of the nicer foldable phones. The other one that I highly have recommended is the OnePlus Fold, which is basically one of my favorite foldables. This one is definitely up there in the list with some of the features and capabilities of the fact that you get 7 years of software updates. That was our video. What do you think about the Pixel Fold? Let us know in the comment section below, and stay tuned for more content from iGyaan. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe if you haven't already. Take care.